All right, so we're just going to talk about the quadratic function in general, and we're first going to look at the three different forms in which you can write a quadratic function. So the first one you're probably used to, because we have been talking about this one quite a bit, and that is what is called the standard form. So it's equal to y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. The other form in the bottom left here is what we call the turning point form. So in your theory book, just work with me as we build this summary. And just stop the video as you need to so you don't fall behind. Right, so that's a turning point form. And then on the right-hand side, the bottom right-hand side of our little triangle that we're forming is called the zeros form. All right, so if we go back to the standard form, let's just talk about what we see over here. So the A is actually called the dilation factor. And the dilation factor actually determines the shape of the parabola. So just using basic speak, it can make it a fat parabola or it can make it a long, skinny parabola. So it looks at the dilation of the parabola. If A is positive, then we have what we call a smiley face parabola. If A is a negative value, then it's an upside down parabola or frowny face parabola. Right, so easy to remember. If A is positive, then I've got a smiley face parabola. If A is negative, then I've got a sad face parabola. But it also has to do with the dilation of the parabola, as you will see later. So that's A. C, the meaning of C, it actually gives you your y-intercept. So that's a C value over there. So that's the standard form. Right, let's jump to the zeros form. So the zeros form, another name for x-intercept is actually a zero, also known as the roots of the quadratic. All right, so I'll start by talking about the values of the B and the C. So the B and the C actually gives you your x-intercepts. So your x-intercepts will then be B0 and C0. Those are the two x-intercepts, also known as the roots or the zeros of the quadratic function. So you just got to get used to the words. That's the B and the C. And then the A again has got exactly the same meaning as above. It looks at the dilation of the parabola. So that's called the dilation factor. So if your parabola is if your quadratic function is in zeros form, so straight away, you can just read from that equation the x-intercepts. If your equation is in standard form above, straight away you have your y-intercept. If your equation is in turning point form, then it actually gives you exactly what it says. It gives you the turning point. So you get the turning point. I'm just going to write TP. The turning point is given by these values. So whatever B is and whatever C is. So when we're going to look at each one of these specifically in a more detail, then we'll go through all of this again. But I'm just giving you the big picture now. Right, so the turning point is BC. And again, the A is my dilation factor. So each form actually gives us information about the quadratic function. So it's really important just to have this little summary in your book. And then just quickly, just out of interest for now, and we can actually move between the two forms. So to go from standard form to turning point form, we apply a process called completing the square, which we are going to teach you. All right, so we can go from standard form to turning point form by completing the square. It's a method. And then, of course, moving back from turning point form to standard form, all you have to do is expand the brackets. All right, and if we go from standard form to zeros form, So from standard form to zeros form, and I'm sure you can see what we need to do here is we factorize that quadratic. So that's not new. We factorize it into the two brackets. And then to go back from zeros form to standard form, you can see all we need to do there is expand the brackets. All right, so nice, neat summary in your theory books. Big picture, a quadratic function actually appears in 3 different forms. And in our next lesson, we will specifically focus on the standard form first.